So, Daredevil season two concluded today. Sorry, Daredevil Born Again season two on Disney Plus concluded today. So I finished watching it. This will be my review. I won't go into any major spoilers or anything like that. This will just be my general thoughts on the show. So, you know, overall, fantastic. I really thought this series was excellent. Now, I should say I was not. I've never actually seen the Daredevil Netflix show. I think this was out at the time when I didn't have a Netflix account or whatever. I only really started subscribing to the likes of Netflix and Prime and all that once the lockdowns and things started, and there was no other new films or anything coming out. So I've never really caught up with it. I will say the first season of the Disney Plus show, the Born Again one, I liked a lot. It didn't quite make my top 10 streaming of shows of the year list from last year, but I remember it got kicked out right at the end. It was almost going to make it, but it was the number 11 one. I do remember mentioning that on the list of that. This is definitely superior, though, and I thought that show was actually very good. That season was very good. And one thing I liked about it, I mentioned that I didn't actually know or follow well, I knew about it, but I never really seen the Netflix series. One thing I liked about it is it was easy to watch. It was just like, oh yeah, I get it. I didn't need to do tons of homework. I could just sit and watch this new one and be like, oh yeah, I get it. Yeah. And, you know, my first proper introduction to Charlie Cox's Daredevil was, of course, his cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home. So, I thought, so I did like that series. Now, viewership wise, I don't know what the general consensus was, but I think from what I've heard, viewership wise, this season two, is like 50% down, which is a pretty huge fucking drop from the previous season. So I'm guessing a lot of people didn't really care that much about it, or aren't they really bothering with Disney Plus or whatever anymore? That's the thing. But to me, I think this series was excellent. It was compelling. Like, even though I prefer sort of shorter episodes, usually about half hour, 40 minutes, these tend to be about 50 minutes. So I never thought any episodes and over the season dragged out or anything like that. I think the action, there was plenty of action in it, and it was not just action for the sake of action, but really well done and really impactful things. I thought, and it's violent and it's brutal, and especially when you get to like the last 10, 15 minutes of the finale as well, which I watched today. It's pretty brutal fucking stuff here and things, but I don't think it's just violence for the sake of violence. It actually serves a story, and I think it's really well done and things. Now, this is one thing I will say is sometimes it's like we talk about how it's like the actor and the material and things. Here, I didn't really know a great deal about Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, but I know he showed up in Hawkeye, which was fine. I quite like that show; it was quite good, everything like that. But one of the other things was that Echo show that came out, and I honestly thought that this character's shit. What is? I honestly, because the show was shit and it was badly written. Kingpin here, though, tremendous, absolutely tremendous, imposing and just compelling to watch. That just shows you how you can't really blame the actors if they don't have the material to work with. Then it is what it is. But here it was much, much better, and even thought that about the first season as well with that. And like there was, I mean, it brought in what's it, Jessica Jones, which is another thing I've never actually watched or anything like that. But I got the gist of everything when she was introduced through here. It didn't feel shoehorned or anything like that. I was just like, all right, okay, I get it. It's fine. So yeah, these shows were very easy to watch, thoroughly entertaining. They actually used to have most of the shows as well. Most of the shows had good cliffhangers as well, like, from the week to week things. It was just like, oh yeah, so I want to see what happens next week. So as a whole, I think the show was very well done, thoroughly entertaining. Just a side note as well, I know you've got the late great James Gandolfini's son is in this as well. And he was in that film, the other Sopranos spin-off film, the Many Saints in New York film. There's one thing, he does look quite a bit like James Gandolfini, but I think his name's Michael Gandolfini, I think. Apologies if I'm getting it wrong, but hope this doesn't come across as bad. But I actually genuinely think he looks quite a bit like Kevin Bridges, the Scottish comedian. I don't know if you Googled them side by side, you'd be like, yeah, they do actually. Like, even if you don't know who Kevin Bridges is, I don't know. That's just a thought I've had. I'm just like, yeah, they do look quite a bit alike. But yeah, spring break. Anyway, mummy, can I get an ice cream? Just a few little references there that nobody's probably gonna get. But whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, you got to say, really good show. I've enjoyed it. I usually try and watch it as soon as I can as well, which that's something. A lot of some of the shows, even if they're weekly drops, I will maybe watch it a day or two later or whatever, or when I get the chance. But actually, the fact that I actually wanted to watch this, um, most of the time, I think most of the time I did actually watch it on a Wednesday. There might have been the odd Thursday or whatever that I watched it on, but if I was doing something else. But I actually wanted to set time aside and watch it. That tells you something as well. My whole thing with the Disney Plus Marvel shows is that they started off strong, the likes of WandaVision. I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier. A lot of people didn't. Loki season 1 and 2, they were really good. Like I mentioned, Hawkeye, I like them, but there's been some duds. There has been. It's like Ms. Marvel, even though it's like critically acclaimed. It's like okay, whatever. I watched 2 episodes of that, and I was just like, yeah, this ain't for me. And the Agatha all along. I watched 2 episodes of that, and yeah, that was shite. And I watched. What was there was? Oh yeah, the recent one, Wonder Man, that's absolutely getting rave reviews from critics. I watched 2 episodes of it, and I was like, yeah, fuck this, can't be bothered with it. But I seem to be in the minority with that one about Wonder Man, but whatever, it is what it is. I'm just going to be honest and tell you what I think. And I think Daredevil Born Again season 2 was great. I loved it. So big and even a very significant improvement from the first season, which I actually liked quite a bit. So there you go. And I know the bad viewership and everything like that's there. Apparently they're already filming season 3 and everything like that. And the way season 2 ends actually makes me want to see what happens next. So hopefully they don't just say, well, nobody's watching it, let's just scrap this tax break or whatever like that. So hopefully we get to see it, but yeah, well. Yeah, but to be fair, all I can say is, ending on a positive, Daredevil season 2, Born Again season 2 was great. I absolutely loved it. So that's just my thoughts. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and goodbye.